Hello everybody, welcome to Double B's Garage. We're starting new episodes with regards to cars that I'm buying and selling that need work occasionally. Today we have a 1998 Mercedes C43 AMG. I bought it from its original owner, 179,000 miles, pretty crazy, and it needs some love. All right, here she is. I brought it to a friend of mine, Avery, who owns Over Engineered in Fresno, California. And today we are addressing some issues. I actually drove the car down to get it smogged. It stalled. Couldn't get it smogged, and then also realized that the readiness codes weren't set.
After it stalled out on us 3 times trying to get the smog, we found that cat monitors weren't set and secondary air wasn't set, probably from sitting for several years unattended. Found out what the stalling is with heat. We weren't able to start the car. So process of elimination, we figured out that we have fuel pressure. We're most likely getting spark, but when it's hot, we found that the crank position sensor isn't working correctly, so it's not able to determine that we are at top dead center to tell these cylinders to fire. We found that out by cooling off the sensor a little bit, and it would start fire right up right away, and then it would break down on us. Here we are today, hopefully going to remedy this.
So he's going to change the crank position sensor. I can put the part number in the description as well of the video, but it sits right underneath. You want to get this air mount off here. The front cover that says AMG has already been removed. Just comes off with kind of rubber interference clips. And then he can grab a light and we'll show you where this is. Shockingly, in 1998, these cars had coil packs per cylinder, which is kind of rare for this year, and 16 spark plugs. This produced 309 horsepower in 1998. I'm gonna put this in service mode and then we'll...
That way we're not hitting our head on it.
There we go. You can basically pull out the engine if you need to without removing the hood. I don't know why they don't do this on more cars, but... So he's gonna show us where the crank position sensor is. And then today, what he's gonna do is we're changing the valve cover gaskets, and we're also changing all 16 spark plugs and the wires. With doing some research online, Avery was able to find out that these coil packs are pretty bulletproof unless you have a significant or an issue with one of them misfiring or not working properly. There's really no reason to change them because they're not cheap either. So I think the spark plugs, the wires, and the valve cover gaskets, and some of the emission tubes that you change out when you do this, I think we're around $300 online. So the crank position sensor was a little over $100, $120, something like that. So where is the located at on the vehicle?
So your crank position sensor is going to be right down here. You can see my hand. I'm actually touching the wire.
Oh yeah, I see the
that
wire.
wire goes straight down. Right next to the cat, so definitely something we want to do with the engine nice and cold. And being that it's sat here overnight, it's at perfect temperature for us to get back there and get dirty.
And it fired right up too.
And it fired right up for us.
And there's the MAV, which we ruled out as a potential issue because if the MAV was going bad, most likely the car would start and then stall, and it wouldn't be giving this complete dead kind of scenario or
crank no start.
Yeah, crank no start. So here's the car. I'll show you a little bit about it while Avery gets kind of set up here to get going. This car has not been cleaned or anything. It's sat for the last 5 years. And then I actually bought it from the family's estate. Original owner, 179,000 miles on it. Bolstered 2-tone seats. These things are really cool. The headliner actually started to come down. We were driving it with the windows down because the car has sat for so long. You could see it coming down. It's actually in great shape. It just lost the glue. So what I'm gonna try to do is see if my upholster guy can fix it. But otherwise, everything works perfectly in the car. It starts up, runs really well. We think we have a mild exhaust leak, which we will actually look at once we get into the car more. At Over Engineered in Fresno, California. Avery's a longtime technician and started his own shop. So he works mainly on Volkswagens and Audis and German cars, BMWs, you name it, he can tackle it. One thing we're noticing is the bumpers on these cars were painted. No offense to Tyler Hoovey, but these look like they were painted at Mako. Not the best job. There's a tear actually in this bumper up here that's preventing it from sealing up to the underneath the headlight, and it has some movement. So we're thinking either a new bumper or maybe fixing this one. This looks to be actually an AMG bumper, so if we can fix it, that'd be great. The rubber is fading, you know, just from its age. But everything else is stock. This bumper has a couple scratches on it, but it looks really good. So we will fix that or get it painted. And there's another made in Germany. That's an AMG part. So let's take a look at underneath and see what Avery has to say about anything that looks out of the ordinary.
You know, we got a little bit of sweating coming from this differential, but not too much to be concerned about. Maybe we would check the fluid level, but we're not seeing a drip. A drip is going to tell us that there's a huge catastrophic failure, but it seems to be okay right now. You know, nothing I put high on the priority list.
Clean it and watch it, maybe?
Clean it, watch it, you know, check fluid. That seems tight. It's good. Light cracking in some of the bushings. Yeah.
You can also see a crack right here. That's clearly where the exhaust leak might be coming from.
Blowing back all the soot right onto this clamp too. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
How else?
I mean, it's still not horrible for the age and mileage of this car.
Well, being in the Central Valley of California with not much rain and...
We have summer and then fall. Our transmission oil pan, but I don't believe this is leaking. You know, we can follow our leaks right here and we can see that gravity is going to pull all of our fluids back on us. So this is going to be something we know the valve covers are leaking.
Where would the main seal be? The rear main?
Be right here.
Oh yeah, right.
And you know, it is pretty clean. But again, we're not seeing a drip from right here. We have an inspection hole. So we have a nice little inspection hole. This is where we would see our torque converter flex plate. It's dry, so although this is clean, we would see a drip right here if this was a rear main leak. So again, we still need to keep looking forward because leaks are going to form from the top and work their way down. We know we have valve cover leaks, so we have to clean that, recheck,
clean this,
and make sure that nothing new is getting back on here. We can see it staining the exhaust a little bit from dripping back. So you probably have a burning smell when you drive a little bit.
It did before I cleaned it with the, you know, the wash, the simple green bath.
But we only have limited miles on that. You know, if we drove another 50 miles, we'd probably get some more leaks. I see you're zooming in right here on this tie rod. Nice and not healthy, you know, but let's magnetize this. We don't have movement, but still something that we need to address, you know, because this is not getting better. That tie rod, the inner tie rod right here, doesn't look bad. This shaft may not be leaking. Again, this might be just the oil leak coming down. This tie rod, and even if this was good, we would recommend doing this in pairs.
Yep.
If you can see the shock, we're showing signs of wetness.
Oh, yep.
And we can also see that the top ball joint is healthy right now.
Okay.
So again, nothing crazy unless we were experiencing a rough ride quality. This shock looks pretty okay too.
Okay.
Nothing bad. Again, not high on priorities, but at one point, let me grab a tool. Way better than that Panamera of yours with 175 volts.
Yeah. It's the oil pan.
Again, nothing crazy. I don't.
Wow, that's
a lot in the front, but I don't see. If we saw a front crank seal, which would be behind our pulley here, we would see nice, fresh, clean oil flung all the way around.
So this could also be valve cover gaskets.
This is something I'm also thinking would be valve cover gaskets. You know, we don't want to replace too much.
Which is what we're doing today, and the reason why we're in here, right? To clean that, or fix that, kind of see what happens after.
It's just some hot oil leaking on these, you know, and these.
How do they feel?
They feel good, but most importantly, they're not swollen at the connection.
Okay.
And that's what we're looking at. Anything swollen is going to be very contaminated, something we would want to address sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
Overall, I'm pretty impressed with the condition of the car.
Well, let's
lower it back down
and start on the valve covers. All right, everybody, as you can see here, a little update. All the valve cover gaskets, or all the valve covers are off. We're just inspecting everything. Everything looks good. We're replacing the black vacuum hoses here as well. There's another one over there, and then there's another one that runs underneath that wiring harness for the fuel rail. These actually are made of magnesium. These are the covers that they were talking about. We have loaded this one up with the Mercedes-Benz sealant. Right here, it's the approved sealant. And then this is the small one here for this guy. And then this is the big one that we just cleaned up, but we haven't put any sealant in. And we're about to seal these up. The two little small bolts over here are really just for locating purposes. You don't tighten those down barely at all. Another bolt here, and a couple other places. And then this one has 4 that go actually through it and tighten them more. Spark plugs you'll see right here. They actually look really, really good. The gap is a little big, obviously because of the age of the plugs, but we are taking care of that, and we got all the 16 new plugs. Plugs came out very, very, very easy, much easier with the valve covers off. So just wanted to give you a quick update on how everything is looking, and then we'll be buttoning everything back up here shortly after we clean everything up. Thanks again for watching, and this is maybe the last update on the C43 for now, and we'll post something new soon. Take care.